How you doing today, guys? About a year ago I put a video up about a chipper I bought and just kind of showing the basics of how to use a chipper. And in that video I promised that at some point I'd show you guys how to go about sharpening the blades and how to change the flail on the chipper as well. So I've got a whole bunch of branches I need to get chipped, and I'm about to do the chipper maintenance as far as sharpening and also changing the oil. So I figure I'd just show you what that looks like. And before I go into the video any farther, I do just want to say that the chipper has been working out really well. I've been chipping basically when I split wood. What I've been doing is taking all the bark, the sawdust, running it through the chipper, and I've been making this absolutely huge pile of sawdust over here. Now I will say that it's a 5 horsepower unit. It's not the fastest in the world. There have been days where I have been frustrated because things seem to get stuck in the chipper. It doesn't have the power. You know, I've learned how to feed material into the machine a little bit better, but I will say that I did see on Craigslist last week there was an Echo chipper with an 8 horsepower motor, which if I had more money in the bank account I probably would have jumped on to get a little bit bigger machine. But for now, for where we are, I think the chipper's doing a great job, and I have no regrets. I learned a ton with my 5 horsepower chipper. The pile you're seeing here, you know, that pile was nice and neat, and I've been chipping and then using a shovel to throw the material up higher and make a nice neat pile. And I've used that material in at least 2 different jobs where I went out to plant just like one tree. I'd use the stuff I chipped just around the base of the tree. It looks pretty good. But what happens is we've got a family of foxes, and foxes, it turns out, love to play on piles of mulch. And I have a dirt pile too. So I got a trail cam. I want to show you a few shots of the foxes playing on top of my, my mulch pile. I guess there was a mother, a father, and a couple babies there. And I think it's just pretty cool. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bring the chipper over and put it on the back of my pickup truck so I have a comfortable working height. You can work on it on the ground, but it's kind of uncomfortable when it's low down, and see if we can get started. Okay guys, so that last move wasn't very smart, and I caution you not to pull your chipper up a set of ramps, maybe with a second set of people, but one slip, one little bit of sand, and I was going over, so please be careful doing that. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this, this pry bar, I'm gonna put it through the rotor and lock it in place so that's not going to move. Then I can take my gear wrench 120 XP, nice long wrench here. I bought these, they didn't send me them for free, although it'd be nice if they did. And we're going to loosen these 2 bolts that hold the chipper blades on. And we're going to be very careful not to leave our hands where if something gets loose, our hands are going to get pinched. And then these blades are going to come off. You just got to be careful. They're very sharp, so don't go sticking your fingers in there. But there's our blade. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Before we start the other side, I want you to notice that the blades have the highest point on the outside here. So when we put these back on, we want the high point touching the wall. I know it seems silly now, but later it's going to save us a lot of headaches if we take note of that. And I just want to point out again that at no time am I using my hands to hold this in place. Because heaven forbid I put too much pressure on the wrench and something slips, my finger's going to get pinched or cut. So I'm always using something metal or a block of wood to hold things in place. I'm also being careful not to grab these chipper blades with my bare fingers, or if I do, I'm being careful where I grab them. We've got our two sets of blades here. Now these blades are reversible, so there's a cutting edge on this side, and if you flip them around, there's a cutting edge on the other side as well. So what you can do is you can get a new set, use one side until it's dull, flip them over, use the other side until it's dull, and then take it to your power equipment dealer and have them sharpen both sides. And just get two sets, so you'll always have a sharp set. I'm going to take these in the garage and sharpen them, and I don't know if I want to show you that or not, because these blades are supposed to be sharpened very carefully, and they're supposed to be well balanced, so you take the same amount of metal off on each side. So it's not just a matter of sliding a file across them. But maybe I'll show you what I do, how I sharpen them, and it was a video by Arborist Blair Glen. I'll put a link to the video below, where he shows me how he sharpens his big chipper blades. But let me show you what I do, and then I'll be honest, it's probably not the best way to do it because you're going to have off-balance blades, but it's what I do. I just want to take a quick look at these blades and show you a couple things. So this is the side that was on the chipper, and this is the side that was on the chipper when I bought it. And if you take a look at this side, you see how on this corner, you see how rounded that is? I'm going to run my finger on this because I know it's dull. But when I took this off the first time, I didn't even bother sharpening it because it's too far gone. Last time I sharpened this side. So I'm not going to bother today either sharpening this side. I'm going to stay here where things aren't that bad. What we're going to do is we're going to put these blades in this jig, and we're going to make sure that the blades are all the way down, they're touching, and then we're going to put this piece of wood on top to hold them. And then what I'll do is I'm going to clamp either side so they're held firmly. When I'm sharpening, I'm going to sharpen both blades at once, which should help to even out how much I take off and make sure I take off the same amount for both blades. What I'm going to be using to sharpen these blades are called roll lock discs, and I'll put them on an angle die grinder. And I don't know the grits, but I have 3 different grits. I have a coarse grit, a medium grit, and a fine grit. We want to use the finest grit we can find when sharpening these because we want to remove as little material as possible, and we want to keep things cool. So when I'm using the die grinder, I'm going to keep that grinder moving. I'm not going to hold it in one place for long. This is our die grinder, and all we're going to do is roll it on there. You see the little back, it's got that little tab. You just roll it on there, and now you're good to go. So since we're going to be grinding, I'm going to be wearing my respirator. I'm going to have a pair of safety glasses on, and I have opened my windows and doors and put a fan in the window to get rid of some of the grindings and the dust. So now I'll just very carefully run a diamond stone along this blade just to hone it a little bit more. And then we'll make sure we get the burr off the back. And then I'll take a finer edge and just create a slight double bevel. Guys, this isn't perfect, okay? I just want the machine to be back in action. I probably should just get a second set of blades and just swap them out every 2 times, take them to the dealer and have the dealer do this right. For a quick edge, this seems to work for me. Putting these blades back in can be a real pain in the butt. But what I found works best for me is to take a piece of cardboard and shove it underneath where the blade goes. And what that's going to do is keep the blade from falling when we start to put it back. Now remember when we were taking these off, we talked about which way the blade goes? If you didn't pay attention when you took them off, you'd probably be trying to put the blades back on this way. And that would be wrong. You want your blades to be so when you feed the wood into the chipper, it's just going to take a little bit off of that piece of wood. The other thing to keep in mind is these blades are extremely sharp. Now mine aren't super sharp because I did it myself, but if you took these to be professionally sharpened, they will be razor sharp, and if you touch the blade, you will end up cutting yourself very bad. So be careful. Probably should have gloves on. So what we're going to try to do is very carefully slide this blade in on that pocket. And you see how the blade is actually resting on the piece of cardboard right now. Which we can then move up a little bit. Okay, check this out, guys. It's a Loctite stick. So we can just put our Loctite on our bolts. Pretty handy, right? Now what I need to do is put a little pressure with the screwdriver. And I got that one started. Okay, so now we can put our Loctite on the other bolt. I think this is so cool. Loctite stick. See link in description. And then we can take our screwdriver and what I'm going to actually do is put a little bit of pressure on this blade and see if I can lift it up. Maybe we move the cardboard a touch. And we're good. So now we put our wrench on that puppy. And we tighten her down. I found that this piece of cardboard is the best method I know of to get these back on, because it can be a real bear. Okay, then we're going to put our bar in there and give it the final torque. Remembering that we don't want to put our hands anywhere that if something slips, we're going to get pinched or cut. Okay, we got those pretty snug. I wish I knew the torque spec because that would be a good thing to have. But these wrenches have a pretty long handle on them, so I think we're good. So, can you see this, guys? You see how the cutting edge of the blade is going to be the first thing that hits the wood when I feed it through. We got all our blades back in. Everything's torqued down nice. We put some blue Loctite on them so they don't vibrate loose. So we're just going to go ahead and pull our piece of cardboard out. There's a little bit of a lip on this guy. It can be tricky. There's a little spot up there you got to hit. Everything fits good. And then we just put our bolt back on to hold that in place. Snug down so our blades are sharp and we're good to go. Well, guys, we're all set with changing the blades out, and I do apologize. I had mentioned that I was going to show you how to change the shredding blades as well, and frankly, it's more work than I feel like dealing with today, so we're going to just do the sharpening. I promise you, when the day comes that it's time to change the shredding blades, we'll video that too. If you've got a chipper and your chipper is not self-feeding, if it doesn't suck the wood down all by itself, and also if it vibrates a lot when you're trying to put wood in, that means your blades are dull. That means your blades are very dull. You really want to sharpen your blades more often than not, so you never get to that phase. And like I said, the best thing you could do would be just get 2 sets of chipper blades, flip them over, flip the first set over. When the first set is dull, take them to your dealer, have them sharpened, and then put your second set in, flip them over, and then just, work it that way. What I did today is by no means the right way to do it or the best way to do it. It's just the way I do it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and throw my safety gear on. We're going to chip some brush and see how she's doing. Thanks for watching, guys, and have yourselves a wonderful day.